Hi all, it's Denise and I'm in my studio today and I'm working on making some little floater frames, really easy little floater frames for some 12 by 12 pieces that I've created on board, and I need to frame them. And as you know, floater frames can be pretty pricey, and I like the way that the ones that I've made go with the art that I'm creating, which is a layered effect with papers and stitching and marks and plaster and fabric, a little bit of everything. So these fun little frames work really well with that. And I have a whole group of them I'm making. Let me get this out of my way. And they've been pretty easy to make. Everything I got from Home Depot. I got 1 by 2 inch lumber that for an 8-foot piece was, I believe, $4.88. I'll check that price. And then I'm using the yardsticks that Home Depot has in the paint department. Yardsticks, 36 inches for, I think they're $1.98. And that is totally what I'm using to put these frames together, along with my wood glue and my little clamps and my staple gun, staples. That's all you're gonna need. I think that's all you're gonna need for this project. So let me show you how I did this. I'll move these out of the way. This is my done project. And here I have all my little frames lined up, and I've pre-cut my yardsticks and they're ready to apply onto the frame. So here's one of my frames ready to glue. But what I did is I took the 1 by 2s and I cut 4 pieces that are the same length, and this is for a 12 by 12 inch panel to go inside. And I cut these, each piece I cut 10.5 inches. So each of these pieces is 10.5 inches. And as you can see, I'm not mitering the corners. I'm just doing butting them up, the corners. And once I got the pieces cut, I used my wood glue. I glued the ends. I put the ends together, made sure that they were nice and sturdy. And then I took my staple gun and just stapled each joint on. And it really only took 1 staple, but you need to do staples on both sides. It probably wouldn't hurt for me to go back and add a staple, an extra staple to each corner. But these are pretty lightweight and pretty small, so that is enough to hold it together and make a sturdy little frame. Then I cut my boards. Let me go ahead really quick and add another staple to each of these. And this is a heavy duty staple gun. This is the Power Shot, and I believe it takes a T50 staple, and I'm using 3/8 inch staples. So there we go on that. Then what I liked about these frames is, first of all, when I get done putting them together, I'll sand them up and kind of get rid of, obscure some of the, you know, the Home Depot label. Although I do like that it says home of the finest paints. But when I put these together, I just wanted to create a lip on the top side. And I really liked the little tick marks on the ruler, on the yardstick. I liked those showing, if you can see that, on the inside edge. So that meant that I had to space these, my frame and the ruler. It couldn't be easy and just set it down alongside because it made too big of a lip for the panels that I'm using. So let's just look at this for 1 minute as I'm thinking about it. If I was doing a canvas with a 1 inch, 1 inch canvas, this would work perfect. I could just sit this down, put this next to it, glue it, clamp it, and it would be just the right height. But I am not using 1 inch canvases. I am using birch board that's about not even quite 1/4 of an inch. So I don't want my lip to be that big. It just looks way too big. I really want my lip to extend just a little bit above the panel so that that little orange tick marks shows. I think that goes really well with this, with these pieces. So that being said, since I'm not doing the 1 inch and I'm doing the panel, I need to raise this up when I go to glue them to make sure I hold them in place and that it is raised. So I made some little spacers that are the exact size that I need. And when I stick those there, that raises the lip up just to the right spot. Doesn't take very much glue, just a bead coming down the edge. And I'm kind of eyeballing this to make sure I have it in the right spot. That looks about right. One. And as you go, just make sure that the glue hasn't made anything slip. Okay. And as you're going, just make sure that your lip is even all the way around. Before you clamp it down completely. Okay. This is a pretty easy project. I know sometimes doing woodworking, having a saw, using clamps, using all the tools that go into cabinet making, but it's actually pretty easy. Now what I do want to do is make sure any little areas where the glue came out, I want to get those off so I don't have any glue seeping through. And one more. Now, the cool thing about these little rulers is, oh, I'm looking for those two pieces, is, you know, you don't waste anything. If you don't have enough of a ruler, and if this is 12 inches, 12 inches, 12 inches, you end up with a little bit of scraps left over. And it's okay to add those together. They actually look pretty fun that way when it's pieced together. So I am just piecing this together. And I got these little clamps, these little guys, on Amazon, of course. And they were pretty inexpensive. I want to say it was like 10 clamps for $20. So it's a handy thing to have because, you know, as I said, framing can be pretty pricey. But if you can make your own frames, and yeah, it makes it a lot more doable. And I think for the mixed media work that I'm doing, this latest series, come on, tighten up. There we go. For this latest series that I'm working on, these little frames will be perfect. So there it is. It's all framed up. It's clamped into place. I just want to go back and make sure everything fits properly. And if I need to, I can add a couple more clamps. Actually, it would probably be better, let's see, if I had 2 clamps on each side. There we go. Rather than just one in the middle. And these are called bar clamps, by the way, in case you're wondering what to look for. And this wood glue will be set up, probably, you know, it's always good. I like to have the overnight rule, but I am making quite a few of these, so I don't want all my clamps tied up. And probably in about an hour, maybe 2 hours, these will be ready for me to remove the clamps, and they'll be fine without them. But there you go. And there's my little frame. Make sure everything is even up. And it feels pretty good. So that is my fun, cheerful little frame. And what I will do now is I will go with sandpaper, and I'll hit this, rough it up with sandpaper, take off the Home Depot, smooth out my edges a little bit. So that is the rough draft. And the rulers, as I was cutting the rulers to go around the frame, the skeleton of the frames, I just took each piece and measured it and cut it and put it on the sides. I didn't cut all my pieces at once. I cut them to fit each one because it just seems to go a lot easier that way. So that is what I'm working on in studio session 114. In my studio, what's on my table this week? One of the things on my table this week that I thought you would like, and you could definitely do this yourself. Okay, so I was digging around in my supplies, and I found this whole 10 ounce of Martha Stewart metallic paint, specialty finish, and it's kind of a glaze, and it's a bronze, which is probably a little shinier than I want, but I do like it. So I'm working with raw wood here, so I want to make sure you could first go over your wood with a medium or a polyacrylic to seal the wood in so that when you put a stain, it will go on evenly. but I'm not that patient or that picky. So I'm just taking this and I'm dipping it in water, and then I'm hitting my surface with it. And because I'm watering it down, it's not really metallic-y. It's just got a nice little glimmer to it. I want to make sure I get it down in those little crevices, the little space where I want it to be, look like a floater frame. My piece, and that's pretty nice. It plays off of the brown tones that I have in here. It calms the ruler down a little bit so it doesn't, the design of it doesn't take away from what I have going on here. And then when this is dry, I'll just, because this is on wood, I'll just put a little band of wood glue in, set it down, set a book on it to hold it down in place, and I'll be good to go. Let's see if we can get a couple of these little guys on. Let me get my paint out of the way. Like I said, these little nails, so tiny. So very tiny. I literally, when I've done them before, I've held them in place. Let's get that one in. I love these. They're so darn cute. It's very fun. I still have a few more items to add to my actual art pieces, but I feel good that I have the frames, the little floater frames figured out, and they go with the pieces really well. And yeah, I'm happy with this. So if you're here for the first time, head over and hit that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. And be up to date on all the things that I'm adding into my studio sessions, things that I come up with that I'm working on during the week when I'm on my studio, and I think far enough and ahead to hit the go button on my camera so that I can actually video them and share them with you. I love doing that, and I love your comments and questions, so make sure to add those in, and I will also add all my little supplies and goodies into the description below. So if you want to see what I used and where I got it, you can do that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye.